What's up, guys? It's Caleb again from The Ridge, coming at you with a new video today talking about why the church exists. We're going to jump into a verse together, so let's get started. All right, so we're talking about why the church exists. We could go about this a lot of different ways, but what we wanted to talk about today was something called the Great Commission. And whether you're a follower of Jesus or not, you've probably heard of this Great Commission, but you may not even know what it is or where it's from. Let's jump into the Bible real quick. We're jumping into the book of Matthew. A little bit of backstory on this. Matthew is one of the eyewitness accounts of Jesus, just talking about Jesus' life. And this is at the very, very end of this story when Jesus is about to ascend back into heaven after he's already risen from the dead. He's talking to his now 11 disciples. This is in Matthew 28:16. Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and said to them, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you, and behold, I am with you always to the end of the age." So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into a little bit of a SOAP method for this. We're going to look at some observations that we have from this text. If you don't know what the SOAP method is, you kind of want to know more about that or more about just how to read the Bible in general. We made a video about that. It's going to be right there. So go check it out. You can click on it right now, come back to this video later. That's totally fine. Now we're going to jump into some observations on this text. So first observation is this verse that says, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me." I don't know about you, but this brings me a lot of confidence in Jesus. Brings me a lot of confidence in our God, knowing that he has all authority. It's not some guy just, saying stuff that he doesn't actually have the control over things. This is something that we can have peace about, knowing that he actually is saying this with all authority, that he's been given all authority, and as he's going into heaven, he's saying, go and do. All right, the second observation comes from verse 19. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. So this is the end goal, making disciples of all nations. What is a disciple? Well, in the original translation of the word disciple, for us, that means a follower, somebody who's just following. You're following as closely as you can to Jesus' footsteps. But that's not where it ends, because being a disciple is all about helping other people be disciples. It's not just for us, but it's that once we start to understand the joy that Jesus brings us and the freedom and the hope that Jesus brings us, we can share that with other people and help them to be disciples as well. Number 3, the very end of this text says, I am with you always to the end of the age. Just like the first observation, this brings me a lot of hope. Just this whole text really brings me a lot of hope, knowing that God has the authority, knowing really what our mission is, but also knowing that he's with us always to the very end of the age. And when he was telling his disciples this meant a lot to them because he was getting ready to leave. He was ascending up to heaven, which was this crazy experience for them anyway. But he was saying, I'm going to stay with you. I'm going to be with you. I promise I'm not going to leave you. And this is something that we can rest in. All right, so now that we've done a couple observations from this text, we kind of have a better understanding of what this looks like. What do we do with this? Who is this for? This text, as I said before, was for Jesus' 11 disciples that were with him, but it's for the church. This is the church's mission. Every church that you would go to, this should be the mission behind everything that they do. This whole idea of the Great Commission to go and make disciples. And so we're going to talk about what do we do with this? Where can we go forward? What are some actions that we can take? So we're going to do 3 of those too. So first action we can do is go. This is a big thing because a lot of us forget that to actually do this first, to actually live the Great Commission out the way that we need to, sometimes we think we need to stay. Sometimes we try to stay still and we think people are going to come to us. But the truth is that Jesus said, go and make disciples, not stay and make disciples. So whatever that looks like for you, maybe it's time to start praying about who that one person is in your life that you can be investing in. Maybe that person is somebody that you met at a bar somewhere. Maybe that person's somebody you know at work. Maybe it's just one of your friends who you know doesn't know Jesus. And you have an opportunity to share Jesus with them. But you can't do that by just staying in your house or staying where you are. We actually have to go to them. So one application from this part is maybe just start praying about that. Maybe start praying about who that person could be that you could begin to share the love of Jesus with. All right, the second thing is baptism. And we're gonna do a video on this definitely in the future. for now, we'll just do kind of a brief overview of baptism. If you haven't been baptized yet and you are a follower of Jesus, this is something that Jesus models for us and asks all of us to do, not because it saves us, but because it's an act of obedience and it's an outward expression of our faith to show all of our friends, to show our family that this is what we're about. When we get baptized, this is something that everybody can see, and it can be a really, really exciting moment. But what this verse is talking about is actually baptizing other people, because once they've believed, Jesus says one of the first things that we should do is to go and be baptized. So we have to go to people, we have to share with them the love of Jesus, share with them who Jesus is and how he can bring us hope. And once they begin to understand that, then one of the first steps they can take is to be baptized and to say, I'm all in. I don't have to fully understand what this looks like, but I'm all in and I'm ready to give this a shot. All right, the third and the last thing that we can do with this is teaching. Now you may think, oh, that's just for the pastors. That's just for the people who work at the church. This isn't true, because the truth is God has revealed stuff to you that he hasn't revealed to me. And God has revealed things to you that he hasn't revealed to pastors. And so you have an opportunity to teach people from your experiences, to share your story, to share what God's been doing in your life, and to really show them the way that he's transformed your life. That can't happen just from a Sunday morning teaching or from watching pastors. You have the opportunity to really change somebody's life by sharing things with them and by teaching them. And maybe an action step you can take from this teaching section is to take a time to write down your story. Take time to write down the ways that Jesus has changed your life, or to write down things that you've learned about God along the way, so that when you do have a conversation with someone, you sort of have that ready and you can share some of that with them. We all have things that we're learning, and we should all be learning all the time, and we can share that knowledge and share those experiences and share our stories with the people around us. All right, so those are our 3 things that we can go and do with the Great Commission. And when we're living these 3 things out, when we're going, when we're baptizing, and when we're teaching, we truly are living out the Great Commission. And if we do this as a church, we have the opportunity to really change the world, and Jesus is gonna work through that. So we hope this video gave you a little bit more of a reason of why the church exists. Sometimes it can be kind of confusing, but this really should be the mission behind the church. So we hope that this gave you some clarity on what that can look like. We look forward to seeing you in the next video, and thanks so much for checking us out. As always, if you want to see the next video, see more content that we're posting, hit that subscribe button down below, hit the little bell if you want to be notified anytime we post a video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.